we're already pretty good at instrumentalizing each other and using kind of technological means or excuses to do that. And definitely. And so it brings us, I think, to there's just these deeper fundamental questions of what sort of relationship do we want with these devices? Like people are talking so much now about the destruction of the world through out of control superintelligence, right? I'm actually going to present a paper at an event in Montenegro that's put on by a group of thinkers from this Uhiro Center of Practical Ethics, thinkers who have really done a lot of work on enhancement questions, some of whom are pretty open or supportive of transhumanist ideas, right? So it'll be a lot of fun to interact with them in person. And the whole theme of the conference is about existential risk, like what's going to destroy humanity, or potentially what could destroy humanity. And we've been thinking about existential risk for a while, right? I mean, with the development of the atomic bomb, with questions about to what extent climate change will affect us. We've been thinking about these issues, and now there's talk of super intelligence getting out of control, possibly even acquiring consciousness and its own plans and its own projects and destroying us Terminator style. But in my paper, I'm going to look at another question. What if the apocalypse looks less like Oppenheimer, right, about the atomic bomb, and it looks more like this movie Her that came out almost a decade ago.
Explain this to me. I've heard good things about it. Haven't seen it. Not sure if I should. You tell me.
Right. Yeah. So it's a fascinating movie. I actually watched it on my way over to the United States again. And I was quite impressed by how applicable it is to the present moment. Because the idea is that you have this man, Theodore, whose job is to write moving, personalized, handwritten letters on behalf of people to their loved ones. So your wedding anniversary is coming up. You really want to do something special for your wife, but gosh, just so busy right now, and I'm going to outsource this. So poor Theodore is there in the office all day writing these intimate, loving, attentive, handwritten letters.
With your handwriting?
Well, he has a system, a computer system to make handwriting. So I suppose he could just choose any style.
I see, okay.
And it could be of the client, right? So he's involved in all of these intimate relationships all day. But in real life, when it comes time to clock out, he's actually quite lonely, and he's undergoing a divorce, right? His marriage is falling apart, and he's very lonely, very vulnerable, right?
Should we do a little spoiler disclaimer here? For those who still have not yet watched it?
Yes, I may spoil.
That's okay. So spoiler disclaimer.
Some details here. Yeah. So you can just mute the program for a minute or so.
Yeah.
Flash the time screen where we're done with the movie.
Sure.
And so it turns out that in this this job, they've decided to develop a new operating system. It's basically advanced AI. And this new operating system is highly personalized. So you just start it up, you answer some questions about yourself, and then you say which voice and so forth you want. And then boom, the operating system kicks in. In this case, it's Scarlett Johansson. She's the voice. She doesn't appear physically, but she's the voice of the operating system. And she comes on, and then shortly after the beginning of this new relationship with Theodore, Theodore gives greater access. So yeah, go ahead, look through my emails, look through my messages. And of course, as the AI system is coming to all the info, it's getting a pretty good idea of Theodore's hopes, dreams, fears, frustrations, loneliness, and basically a kind of friendship and romantic relationship develops here. And so it's this intimate bond that's created. But what's so fascinating is it's not that, Scarlett Johansson appears and she's so beautiful and she deceives him and she's really a robot, but you can't tell. No bodily interaction. Just the sound of her voice, the way she's always there for him. She's always there.
How many years was this produced before the recent AI developments?
Yeah, so this is fascinating. This is 2014.
Wow.
This is 2014. So we're like, oh yeah, wow, sci-fi, futuristic. Like there's no way that Siri or Alexa could ever do this. And of course, now we are immersed in the world of generative AI. And you can go to, I don't know if you have a Snapchat account, but you could go to a Snapchat account and there are chatbots available. And these chatbots will engage in a dialogue with you. And, oh, how's your day? How are you doing? How's this relationship going? Can I give you some advice, right?
And they remember previous conversations?
Oh, yeah. They have plenty of data on us.
They remember, like
right.
They are they, and they remember. But,
exactly. Yeah. And so they have plenty of data information. And that's the thing, right? In the operating system of her, the system is just going through information and data of Theodore. The type of information and data that we're constantly accumulating and that we're constantly giving out by every click and every scroll and every interaction that we make online and social media. And so these systems are sophisticated enough to respond realistically. And so you go to Snapchat today, this is real life, not the movie Her anymore, real life, and you can get relationship advice. But I mean, unfortunately, it's out of control. Some people have done experiments and they've gone on and they've presented themselves as, say, a 13-year-old girl and said, oh, and I have this relationship, he's twice my age, my parents don't understand, but I think it's going somewhere. What should we do for a date, right? And so the Snapchat is just there to give advice, and they're talking about entering into sexual relations, and the Snapchat bot is not there to judge or scold. It's there to recommend a good restaurant, recommend a good hotel room, and so you can see how these systems can so easily prey on our vulnerabilities and our needs. So that's why I say, okay, maybe the apocalypse in the future will involve weapons of mass destruction. Maybe these systems will go out of control, but I think well before that happens,
Brave New World.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reminded of.
Yes. But I mean, I think before this happens, we're just going to have a lot of lonely people out there, a lot of vulnerable people who find in the technology we already have, which is just going to get better, just going to find patterns in data more quickly and more accurately in the future. They're going to find in those systems a companion who is always there, who always listens, who never judges, who never spurns, who never gets angry, who is supportive. And okay, that's frightening. You can also throw in a bit of sex bot technology, which is developing.
Once you insert that into a robot, what does that look like?
Yeah. So sex bot technology is advancing, and
I mean, without getting graphic, explain what you mean by that. It's advancing.
So basically, robotic structures that will offer sexual pleasure to clients. To men or women.
And these are human-looking robots? Or?
Yes. So the goal is to create increasingly more human-like, realistic robotic structures. So there are still plenty of people who think, okay, this is the path. Like I kind of want that bodily sexual experience, and so that robot can provide it. And it's a similar logic, right? Like, oh, great, a robot who's never tired, who never gets angry, who never gets sick, who just wants to satisfy me.
I guess maybe a more general question. I didn't know that we were this advanced in robotics.
Yeah. So, I mean, I suppose we're on the initial stages. I'm sure it will get better in the sense of more accurate.
And what's crazy is how like pornography is really responsible for the quick advancement of the internet back in the early aughts. I imagine sex robots are going to be really the spearhead of advancements in robotics.
Sure.
Deep desire for sexual pleasure.
Absolutely. And so you have that whole realm of the sex bots. You also have this kind of parallel realm that's maybe closer to the movie Her, of individuals who just want their relationships with artificial intelligence more fully recognized. A few years ago, there was a case that gained some attention of this man, Mr. Kondo, in Japan, who wanted an officially recognized marriage with an AI system who was presented only as a hologram. So here was not someone who was looking for all of the physical pleasures of a sex bot, but who recognized this is a hologram, but we have such intimacy that I want this recognized. And so you have that kind of disembodied relationship with AI, you have the sex bots, and you have a small, but I imagine growing community of digisexuality. Okay, so a few years ago, a professor wrote a whole scientific, peer-reviewed article on digisexuality, explaining this phenomenon of these different relationships, but kind of going further. I'm not just saying like, hey, isn't this weird? But saying these are different legitimate ways of living human sexuality. And just as people who were same-sex attracted or had gender dysphoria were persecuted, were discriminated against, these people are being discriminated against. And as this spreads, they will be further discriminated against. So what we need to do is already anticipate that and see this as just one more legitimate form of sexual identity. So it's fascinating because we see this again and again in history, right? It's not just the behavior. It's the behavior that then becomes a kind of identity. Mm-hmm. This is who I am. Remember,
I want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography. Usually men know that porn is wrong. They don't need me or you to convince them that it's wrong. What they need is a battle plan to get out. And so I've distilled all that I've learned over the last 15 or so years as I've been talking and writing on this topic into this one course. Think of it as if you and I could have a coffee over the next 21 days and I would kind of guide you along this journey. That's basically what this is. It's incredibly well produced. We had a whole camera crew come and film this. And I think it'll be a real help to you. And it's also not an isolated course that you go through on your own, because literally tens of thousands of men have now gone through this course. And as you go through the different videos, there's comments from men all around the world encouraging each other, offering to be each other's accountability partners and things like that. Strive21, that's strive21.com/Matt, or as I say, text STRIVE to 66866 to get started today. You won't regret it.